What's up, guys? It's MamaDeadHead and I am back with another video. So Athena might also guest star in this video. The first thing that I want to say is I'm so happy to be doing this Q&A. The last time I asked for questions for a Q&A, I'm pretty sure like around that day, or like the couple days before or after, I broke a back tooth. And I had to get it removed just to discover basically the cause was my wisdom teeth, and I had to get emergency surgery like the following day. So that was like a very jam-packed week, and I took a break for like a month trying to heal because obviously like this isn't like a broken hand or a broken leg or anything like that. I mean, at least I could still like hold the camera with my other hand that like wasn't broken or something, but I have to talk with my mouth. So yeah, it was a crazy time and I was not able to do them, and I go back and I look at some of the questions and some of them were fantastic, but a lot of them were about The Walking Dead, and that makes it a bit outdated because I'm pretty sure it was around August when I asked for questions for the Q&A. So the second thing that I want to say is some of these are amazing and I might potentially make videos on like just single questions because I think they're fantastic topics. I'm not gonna go in full like tangent, like hour-long talks answering these questions in this video, but if you guys want to see that, be like, hey, that was a really great question. Can you make a video on it? And I would love to, because I want to make videos on the questions that you guys find to be like cool questions or have cool answers. This might be a two-parter, so if you're reading the title and it says part 1, then chances are there's going to be part 2, maybe 3. Because there are 45 comments on this video, and I want to stop at about 20 minutes, and I'm already at 3 minutes. So I don't want to make it like way too long and like people just tune out, because I do that if a video is too long. So I'm going to make it a base of like 15 to 20 minutes, and then I might make a part 2. So let's go ahead and jump into these. Some of them are similar. I'm just going to go read all of them, and if one is similar, I'll say I answered it in previous questions. So, the first question that I'm seeing is, did you hear the news about Dwight joining Fear the Walking Dead? What's your opinion about it? So, I've made my opinion quite known on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter these days, just at MamaDeadHead, and then it should come up like Sarah Large, MamaDeadHead, all that good stuff. I love it because I think that his character just did not get the time he deserved on The Walking Dead, and I think that he can get that on Fear the Walking Dead. I love Fear, and I love The Walking Dead. I probably love Fear a bit more than The Walking Dead at this point, but I think that he would be a... Alright guys, really sorry about that. My camera got messed up. I used my phone, notification popped up, and I did not have it on Do Not Disturb. I apologize. But anyway, I think that Dwight would be a phenomenal fit. I want to know more about his character, more about his story, and I think that he will just get that chance on Fear the Walking Dead that he did not get on The Walking Dead. How long do you plan on doing YouTube for? Forever. For the foreseeable future. I do not see me stopping YouTube anytime soon. I do this as something I love, as a hobby, as what I want to do in the future. I don't know, like, Athena will at some point go to school, and I'm like scared of school, but I kind of want to go back to school for something possibly in entertainment, and maybe if this gets to the point where it can be like a main income or lead into something else, then so be it. Fingers crossed, that's what I'm hoping for. But as far as YouTube goes, I just don't see myself stopping. So if you really enjoy my content, know that this might be for years to come. If you hate my content, then sorry, but I'm not going away. Okay, so this one is a very, very loaded question, and the person that commented this comments such sweet and amazing and nice stuff all the time, so thank you, you're amazing. But she says, how was your childhood and your high school experience? Kisses. Okay, first off, kisses back. A second, like I said, this is very, very super loaded, and I'm just gonna touch on some main points. Childhood, I was raised by my grandparents. I was raised by the mother to my mother and a step-grandfather, but they were all I knew. I was taken from my parents, and I have 2 brothers, and they were taken by the parents to my dad. I've only seen them a handful of times in my lifetime, and I would like to see them more, but they are like not social media type people. Sorry for the camera moving. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, so sorry about that, guys. Athena just like running amok in the background. I will say that as a child, things were a bit easier. The camera's probably gonna shake, guys. I'm so sorry for Athena running around. But I would say as a child, things were a bit easier when I hit about middle school, when you start becoming your own person and able to have your own opinions. It was not as easy, and I grew up with some interesting life views that once I was able to have my own opinion, I quickly grew out of. And high school, I would say middle school and high school were very, very hard for me. I have ADHD. I'm actually diagnosed with ADHD, and growing up, that was just not a thing that was supposed to be a thing or okay. There was no way that I would be able to treat the symptoms of ADHD, which made school, like elementary school, I was like a peer student. And then middle school, I was like, oh, this is getting really hard. And then in high school, I went to a special high school that was 5 years, not 4. And you're supposed to get your associate's degree. I did not get my associate's degree. I did graduate, thankfully, because I had some amazing teachers at my school. But it probably went from like elementary school, middle school, high school. It was pretty rough. I was on a college campus, a different building sometimes, as far as high school classes go, but college-wise, I went on a college campus to college classes with college students when I was in high school, so it made things even harder. So it was even harder on an already ADHD kid that was just confused about life in general. Why am I here? What got me to this point? Why am I not with my parents? I mean, it's just a lot of stuff loaded into one. Like, I'm pansexual, which means that I don't know how to put it, but basically, like, bisexual, I like both genders, and I don't really put a big value on looks. It's more personality. So that growing up in the atmosphere that I did was extremely difficult, on top of all the other stuff that I was dealing with. And when I turned 18, I left and got married and moved to Japan. And that was probably the best thing for me, because I know that you're really guided these days, and people are all about like college. And that's very important. Continue your education, do what you feel is right, but sometimes that is not what's right for you. Getting married in a relationship that I'm still in, and going to Japan and having a child was just in my cards, and I think that was best for me. So all of that I had to deal with growing up, I would go through a million times if it meant that I got to be where I am today. Like I said, this is a super loaded question, so if you want story time on something that happened to me when I was younger, feel free. I would love to do that for you guys, because I know that some of you guys go through similar issues that I've gone through. And yeah, like I said, loaded question. All right, next one. I'm gonna skip all game related questions just for the sake of part 2. I'll do part 2 with more gaming. 2 questions from Awesome Steve, who is a patron of mine. 2 questions. What's your weapon of choice, and which group would you align with? Alexandria, Kingdom, Hilltop, Oceanside, Sanctuary, or Whisperers? Okay. Weapon of choice. My weapon of choice. You know, I've thought about this a bit, and I've said for a while a katana, or like a sword, because you don't have to reload it. It's not, you know, a machine gun. There's not really that much upkeep compared to like a weapon that you have to get other materials for. But part of me is quite reserved in the starting of the apocalypse, whether or not I would want to be that close to a walker. So I think that maybe I would phase into something like a sword, but I might start with something more like a slingshot or a bow, because seeing those used as weapons on the show, it just feels a bit safer to me. So starting off with something that I can use at like a range, and then phasing into like a handheld sword, that type of thing. Which group would I align with? Alexandria, Kingdom, Hilltop, Oceanside, Sanctuary, or the Whisperers? Super loaded question, man, I'm telling you. Just like the last one. Because I think that I'm one of those people that if you start with, sorry for the notification. If you start with one group, you're kind of aligned to maybe just fall in with them. Like, you know, we see the start and we see this like core group that we get attached to, and Rick becomes Alexandria and Morales becomes the savior. So who am I to say that I wouldn't become a savior? But what I would really like is to be Kingdom. The Kingdom, of course, because I feel that that has a decent amount of structure. Looking to like a definite king or like leadership person might be what's best for me. Okay, next one. Oh. Why the name? Why the name? I've gotten this a few times. I definitely got it on my other Q&A video. So, MamaDeadHead. Alright, so when I started playing Road to Survival, Walking Dead Road to Survival, I was already a mom. I started playing this essentially when Athena was born. Kind of just to pass my time, because when you have a baby, you're just like up countless hours and feeding your baby and like not really able to do anything. They're just kind of like laying there with you and you're feeding them and you're like, a lot of people binge Netflix, which I did for a bit, and then I discovered the game and I started playing it. So whenever I started in my faction, my first faction, I'm the type that kind of like rises up through the ranks at a pretty decent pace, and the way that I handle things, a lot of people just think I'm very mom. That's just who I am, that's how I handle things, and if someone argues, I guess, I just shut it down. I'm like, alright, stop. Just like a mom would. So a lot of people called me mom or mama anyway, and then whenever I was making videos, when I started making videos, they weren't about the game, and people just continuously called me a deadhead because I am a fan of The Walking Dead. It has nothing to do with Grateful Dead, although I do love them, if that's what you guys were thinking, but it kind of just got mashed into MamaDeadHead. That's it. That's where the name came from. Alright, next one is, what is your opinion on The Walking Dead show replacing the Carl and Lydia comic arc with Henry and Lydia? Also, how do you feel about Henry as a character in general? This is one of those that there might be a couple more questions about Henry, as this is a very popular topic right now in The Walking Dead. My opinion on the show replacing the Carl-Lydia comic arc with Henry and Lydia. Well, I'll just say, long story short, I'm not happy with the fact that they replaced Carl, so I'm not really happy with this story arc. And I don't think that there would be a way that I would be happy without Carl being in the show. That's like super short answer, but I just don't like the fact that Carl's gone. Did I like him the best? No, I wasn't really a fan of his character, but this was such an important part of the story, and this character was just so like, it's his story, you know what I mean? So it's really hard to see this story played out without him, with someone that has been in the show a lot longer than Carl, because I'm not as attached, if that makes any sense. I'm like, if Henry dies, will it be sad? Yeah, of course it'll be sad, but not nearly as sad as like with Carl, or frustrating. So, alright guys, so this is going to be the end of the video because Tony came home, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off with what do I think about Henry as a character. I'm going to be 100% honest here and say that he's not my favorite character, but I by far don't think he's the worst character. I just think he is a typical teenager, and teenagers are like notoriously known for making bad decisions. And like, just as an example, I have a daughter. She's 3. If she was 14 and she was straight, she liked boys, and just as an example, was failing math, And her math teacher was like, hey, I have a student that does a phenomenal job in math. Let me give you their parents' information and maybe they can tutor your child. And the child was a boy. And I decided to go ahead with this route, and the boy came over. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, go to your room, shut the door, have a good time, yeah, have a good time with your tutoring session. No. I would put them in the kitchen or the living room in a very well lit and very well monitored area. So when you literally put a teenager in a situation, you're just like, you're asking for something bad to happen. Teenagers have intense emotions, whether it be like intense romantic emotion or intense friendship emotions. I think that I said this in my predictions video, that whether or not, like, say Lydia was down there, I don't care what sexuality, what gender, what anything, if there was another teenager in the cell next to her, there was going to be some kind of bond formed. So just acting on that and manipulating the situation doesn't bode well for someone who is already inclined to make bad decisions, if that makes any sense. And it's also like not a very good example that, like, hey, I want to go to Kingdom, I want to learn how to be blacksmith, and the person that you're left with manipulating you for information. Imagine being a teenager, or if you are a teenager, and your parents put a baby monitor in your room and you found out like a week later they've been listening to all your phone calls. You'll be like, what the fuck is going on? You'll be really pissed. You're a teenager. Like, it's like an invasion of privacy, especially with something like that. So like, I can't fully blame him for making idiotic decisions, sorry. Because it's just, I'm not really fond of any teenagers on any show, if I'm gonna be honest. They just have like a typical type of character. Just like I didn't really like Carl, just like I hate Charlie on Fear, like, just teenagers. Why put them in this situation to do something wrong when you're already skeptical of if they're gonna do something wrong anyway? I see a lot of people saying that they hate Henry, they want him to die. I'm not that serious about it. I mean, like I said, I didn't really like Carl that much as a character, but I can appreciate what he brought to the story and that he was needed. So, I don't know. Do I just love Henry? Not exactly, but by extension of King Ezekiel, I do love him, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this video. It was about 20 minutes anyway, so I will hit you guys back with a part 2, and considering how many questions I went over in this, maybe a part 3 and a part 4. So be on the lookout for those. I'm probably going to put out one a day until I get all these questions answered for you guys. But thank you so much for leaving questions, and if you have questions or want any of these questions to be their own video, please comment down below and let me know. But thank you so much for watching, and like I always say, think positive thoughts and send positive vibes. Bye guys.